What's going on, everybody? This is Dan from Dan Moto Music, and if you're trying to get quicker with some of your pentatonic skills, stick around and this may be for you. Hi everyone, my name is Dan from Dan Moto Music, and I teach guitar lessons, piano lessons, music composition, and music theory, and the occasional motorcycle video on this channel. So today we're going to be working with pentatonics. This is a good warm-up. It's a good technique to throw into some of your solos. We're going to break this down and then build from there. So we're going to start at a very basic level of it and then move it up from there. So we're going to be working with position 1. If you're not familiar with pentatonic position 1, this goes for all 5 positions, but for this video specifically, position 1. I'm going to go ahead and leave in the description and maybe at the end on a card how you can learn your pentatonic for position 1, and this is going to be doing it in the minor. This can be applied to minor or major, guys. It's not a big deal, but the idea is we need to see this pattern first. So let's run our pattern. We know it's going to go 1-4, and it's by finger. 1-3, 1-3, 1-3, 1-4, 1-4. You want to be able to see that pattern clearly. If you cannot see that pattern clear in your head, forward and backwards, that'll be the first thing you want to get done, is to establish and get it stuck in your head how that pattern works. Because we're going to be running this in sets of 3s. What I mean by that is we're going to work forward 3 strings up. 1, 2, and 3. And you can always hammer on and pull off, and we're going to do that at the end. But let's actually just stick to plucking for now. So let me try that again. So we're going to go up 3 strings. 1, 2, 3. From here, you're going to go 1 string back. So now I'm going to go to string 5, and I'm going to go 3 strings up. 1, 2, 3. From here now, I'm going to go again 1 string back, which now it's the 4th string, and I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm hitting, right here I'm hitting that 1-4 pattern, so that's what you got to know in your head. Like, I'm coming up on a 1-4 pattern, you got to see it ahead before you hit it. I'm on this 1-4 pattern for the ending, so now I'm going to go back 1 more string. 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4. Now that's how you do it forwards, guys. Don't worry about speed for quite some time. You want to just internalize this where you can play it even and just feel solid about it. So I'm going to do this at a nice slower or medium pace and just show you what I mean. Notice how I kept that even. I'm also going to want to try to keep my dynamic picking kind of even as well. But that is with alternate picking going forward. Now to go backward is the same idea, but you start on the pinky and now you start coming down. Start 4-1, 4-1, 3-1. Notice when I was going forward, I was coming from my first finger to the next note. Now I'm starting on my pinky going lower, or my ring finger going lower. So let's try that again. 4-1, 4-1, 3-1. From here now I went 3 strings back. Now I'm going to go 1 string before it where I came from. So now I'm string 2, 4-1. Same thing, go 1 string back. Same thing, string 1 back, and this is the ending. Now that is forward and backward, and I can do that again, same thing. Let's do it kind of slow so you can get the idea. Now, if you're kind of more of a beginner player, intermediate, you may be getting tripped up on the strings, so you maybe want to focus more on your right hand. The thing about the right hand with this technique is you have to be able to move your hand across the strings you're playing on. Not necessarily every string, but in the sets. So if I'm on the 6th string, notice my right hand kind of went with the string. And what I do, the way I do that is I take my pick, and it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to do it right here. Let's pretend there's a string right here. I make sure my pick is not too low or too high. It's level with the string. So when I'm plucking, if I am level with the 6th string, this is too high. I am now level. You see how I made my pick nice and flat to it? So when I pluck on it, now when I go to the 6th string to the 5th string, I will level my string to the 5th string, and level it to the 4th string. If you're trying to stay in one position and not move, instead of like clearly just go to that string, you're going to be getting kind of held up on that because you're not putting your hand in the right area to make the motion happen. So be careful with your right hand on that. As far as for the left, guys, the syncing of making sure you're plucking both notes or individual notes as you're moving to it. You want to make sure there's clean sound. So it's more of a legato thing where you're going one sound to another, not this. You see that's more staccato, it's more stubbed out, so you want a more legato. Now that is the basics of it. The next thing is once you start seeing this pattern, you got to think ahead of where you're going at all times. At a slower pace, it works out for you not to be able to think about what you're doing as much, but that's more mechanical playing. While you're doing this slow, guys, you want to be developing the technique to see what's the next three strings coming up in your head. You don't want to be mechanically thinking of something else while your hands are doing the work mechanical wise, meaning they're just doing it habitual. When you play guitar or any instruments, you want to be involved in what you're doing. So you got to see these sets highlighted in your head before you get there. Now, the next step, if you want to get quicker with it, I mean, first of all, you could just pluck them everything like this. That's fine. But you want to also now incorporate when you're going up the strings, meaning from the lowest string to the highest string, you also could do hammer-ons like this. Sets of 3 still. Pluck once, hammer on. Hammer on, hammer on, go back one string, back one string, back one string. And you could do down a plucking with that as well, or just downs. But the thing about hammer-ons, a lot of people don't make the right contact with the string, meaning they pluck the first note and then they whack onto the string some way. The idea is you want to stay on the tip. When you're playing into a hammer-on, if your first finger's here and I'm hammering on with my pinky, let's say, I am still playing with the tip. I'm not overshooting it or undershooting it. I am going right with the tip, kind of like if you're playing chords. But when I pluck it to that note, you can hear a clear distinction from one note to the other, and it's nice and smooth. They're not like da da like this. You see how I'm putting too much force into those strings? That's a big thing I see with a lot of students as I teach. Keep in mind, guys, these things will evolve with more time. The more you get comfortable with these ideas, the more they will just settle in with what you're trying to accomplish. You're not going to get in a day if you're a beginner. If you're an advanced, this is too easy. Why are you watching this video then, you know? But with intermediate, same idea. Maybe you're picking up your hands too far from the fretboard. I see a lot of people do this kind of dance stuff when they play like this. You want to try to keep your fingers close when you're playing any kind of anything really on the guitar, but that does take years of practice. Back on track. So that's forward, and it's the same idea. Do them in sets of 3s. Now, when you're coming backward, you can start doing them as pull-offs like this. You're going to go with the pinky, you're going to pluck it, and you're going to have your first finger already anchored down. So when I pluck it, pull off. Notice the thing about the pull off though, is it's a roll off. You can hear the flick, listen. You hear that nice that flick away. Okay, so when you flick, a lot of people pick up their hand like this and just move it away. That's wrong. What you want to do is you got to flick it kind of down in a way. Not straight down, because depending on what string you are, you may just flick another string. You pluck it down in a way. So when I pluck it, and a lot of people overdo it like this. It's just really this movement. So when you do it, down and away. Next string. There's set 1. Go up a string. Go up a string. Go up a string. And you're done. Now, putting that together, hammer-ons forward, pull-offs back. Let's do that quick. Not quick, but let's do it kind of slow so you can get the idea now. Hammer-ons. Pull-offs. Once again, notice how I kept that nice and even going forward and back. If you have any gaps, like if you're going like this, that means you're going too fast. You want it nice and even. And of course, the next step would be is adding a metronome. Unfortunately, guys, I do not have a metronome on hand. I'm using both my cameras and they do have the metronomes usually where I practice. So I'll be incorporating that into a different video. If you really need it, leave me a description. You know, I'll make sure I get on that as soon as possible. But the idea with the metronome would be you'll do 2 notes per click. So if you have a metronome, let's say at 60, it's going to go click, click, click. It's always a constant. That tells you where you're supposed to be. The click is going to be the downbeat, and then the other note, which is your up note, will be the other finger. So if I'm down on my first finger going up on all these notes, because that's where the first finger would land, it would be like this: click, 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 so on and so forth. So then I'll do them in triplets: click, click, back one, click, 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 back one, click, 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 back one. Pull-offs backwards, click, 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 click. Sorry about that. Click, 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 and click, click, click. That's how you do it with the metronome, guys. Sorry I don't have a metronome on hand. I still wanted to make this video regardless so you could get the idea of how it would be anyways. But that alone, guys, let's say if you're doing it at 60, then you raise it to 70, 80, 900, and then you're starting to go super quick. So then you're going to start going click, 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 so on and so forth. And then you can start building your speed, which leads me to this, guys. You never, ever, and I see it all the time with everybody, and including myself when I was barely learning, is we want to go fast. That's normal. It looks flashy. It's cool. But speed is not your friend in the beginning as a player. Familiarizing yourself, thinking ahead, understanding hammer-ons, understanding pull-offs, how to utilize all that as tools first at slower speeds is most important, because once you can do this slowly and clearly, speed will start to naturally set in. It will not help you in the beginning, because if you cannot think of these tools or utilize these tools right in the beginning, speed is just going to work against you for a long time. Now, will you overall overcome your problems? Probably. That's how I did it. I just persevered through it because I didn't know any better. I never had a teacher. But as I started realizing, you know what, I'm making this harder for myself, I started learning better ways to overcome speed. And honestly, the best way to overcome speed is not to worry about speed in the beginning. You know, you got to learn to be relaxed when you play. You got to be able to think ahead, everything we've already just talked about. Kind of went off the cuff on this video. I didn't prepare something to show you like some solos or anything with that. But the idea would be is I can always make another video showing you how to use this, because this video is already getting kind of long anyways. Use this idea inside your solos. If you're interested in that, sign up, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know if you want to see that. I don't have a lot of subscribers at the moment, and this channel is growing. Like I said, I'm mainly going to be doing guitar lessons, piano lessons, music composition, music theory, and the occasional, as you can see, I have these motorcycle helmets here. I'm going to be putting motorcycle videos out as far as maybe some motorcycle content, but mostly the cool thing I'm going to be doing is putting like music videos with my music helmets on there and my music with it, composition wise, kind of telling stories. So if you're into that, please subscribe. Thank you guys for watching this guitar lesson video, and I'll see you on the next one.